Hey guys, day late, dollar short, but hey, here it is. Promise you, 90 plus review, Strider.
Strider's not 90 days old.
The franchise is, and this is essentially a remake slash reboot. There's really not a story, but I don't do spoilers anyway, so I want to get right into it. Strider is one of the best side-scrolling action games of all time. It originally was imagined in the arcade and on the NES back in the day. It was very a linear, stage-by-stage affair. Power-ups to the sword, jumping around, this and that. Very diverse moveset. And it's you against pseudo-Russian. It's kind of vague. But, really satisfying gameplay. It takes Ninja Gaiden's game mechanics and kind of takes them to the next logical progression. But still very unique in its own right. So, it was a bit of a cult classic back in the day. Everyone loved it. Never saw a true sequel. You saw, Strider, the original game, redone on, the Genesis. And then you saw spiritual sequels like Run Saber, which was just basically a two-player co-op clone. Not as good, but definitely fun. Something that Zach and I played for the Extra Life charity stream we did last year, and we'll be doing it again this year. And that is coming up, I think, relatively soon. So I'll let you guys know as soon as I have more information on that. So there'll be a video about that too. But, that type of gameplay is, it's addicting, it's rewarding, it's challenging. It's everything that old school gaming, should be. And honestly, gaming today kind of lacks some of that real challenge. And it was nice to see Strider brought back for its own sake. There have been some changes, to the game to kind of make it more current. Control scheme's a little bit different. There's a wider range of movesets. They've also adopted that Metroidvania style of gameplay, the likes of which I haven't seen since Shadow Complex. Epic Games, please port that to the PS3 or PS Vita or PS4 or all three, please. Okay, so you can go anywhere at any time once you have the skill sets necessary to, break open different doors and things like that. Yet somehow it manages to be linear enough. It's never a question of where do you go for the most part. There's very few sections where I felt that it was confusing. And sometimes it was just because I was in such a hurry that I zoomed right by where I was supposed to go. Sometimes I was like, oh, fucker, just look up. Huh? Or look down, or whatever the case may be. The controls are very responsive. I've played it with the controller, I've played it with the Vita, using it as a controller via remote play just to see, and then playing it via actual remote play just to see what it looks like on the Vita. Stunning. Cannot recommend this enough. I can't. It is just an amazing experience. Those of you that are used to your first-person, story-driven kind of stuff, when I say compelling and amazing, I mean in terms of gameplay, in-game feedback and fun. The story is barely kiddie comic book worthy. Not even late 70s comic book fare. It's nothing. It's barely holding together. And the textures on the characters that are not in game, like the story, I use the term cutscenes loosely because there's not a whole lot of them. Those textures aren't great, but it doesn't matter because it's kind of an arcadey kind of thing. So, it kind of reminds me of Bionic Commando, the NES one, and the remastered version as well. As far as how it's kind of cheesy, I like that. It throws back to kind of some of that writing as well. So ultimately, if you are a fan of action side-scrollers, swordplay, ninjas, Russians, anything in between, Metroidvania games, all the above, and a good challenge, drop the coin. Snag it. Giving this bad boy an 8 out of 10. I know 8 out of 10 is kind of my go-to. The reason it's not getting a 10 out of 10 is two reasons. One, the textures in the cutscenes, the overall presentation is so sharp and so good in the rest of the game that for them not to render the cutscenes that well really kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me. So that was a big... It takes you out of it for a second. The other one being, and this isn't even the game's fault, so you guys are going to get mad at me for this one. The big point on this one is that there's almost no chance it's going to be done by the same folks. Double Helix, the guys that did this game, were just recently acquired by Amazon. So unless Amazon wants to have them developing games for PS4, PS3, and Xbox and what have you, we're not going to see it again. And if someone does tackle a sequel under Capcom's guidance, is it going to be as good? I don't know. I hope so. Would have also liked to have seen some form of co-op, a more integrated leaderboards kind of thing, something that kind of brought more people in. I'm not looking for like a true multiplayer, but a co-op would have been nice because I've played Run Saber, and playing that style of game with two people is... So it would be interesting to see how they could do it, or even challenge modes for like getting through a certain area or something. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is that not perfect, but damn close. And as far as the gameplay itself in the game, it is perfect. It's just some of the presentation, some of the things for the future, because it's almost like, oh, this is so good, I'm never going to see this again. So, but then again, it's been almost 30 years since we saw a Strider on a home console. Well, almost 20 years because of Genesis 1. It's been almost 20 years since we saw it, and we thought we'd never see it again. So we did see it again. So, awesome on you, Capcom. Double Helix did a great job. Awesome. So, there you go. That's your two for the week. I don't know what Monday's going to be yet. Probably going to be either Battlefield 4 or Injustice. I don't know which one yet. So, you'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, keep on grinding. Later.